Hi, everyone. Back with another live stream on the Costume Code channel. And we are actually going to be picking up where we were on the weekend. I had my guest, William Swift, here at his museum in Maplewood, Michigan. And it's the Enchanted Fantasy Costume Film Museum. I'm saying the name incorrectly. But anyway, so we did we did about 50% of the tour. And so William graciously has come back for us to be able to finish the second part of the tour so that you can all see all the amazing costumes on the other half. William, what do you think? Like, do you think that the first half is better or the second half, or do you think they're equally amazing?
Definitely the second half, 100%. Yeah,
We got some
yeah.
good stuff in store then.
We got some great stuff coming up here.
Yeah.
So
And I want to mention to you, so William just opened up this museum just a little more than a week ago. I think you're open like 5 days a week. But
yeah,
but to help support the museum, like he's used all of his own money. He's created a GoFundMe. So I've pinned that in the comment at the top. So if any of you feel like you can't get down to Minnesota to visit and attend the museum, but you want to help in a little bit of a way, that would be a really nice thing to do. All the money goes back into everything he's doing, supporting the museum. So anyway, so without further ado, William, I'm going to hand it over to you. I'm going to put you in a solo spotlight. I'll probably
okay.
interrupt you many times, like I seem to do too much of. I
Please.
apologize.
No, it's totally fine.
So you know me, I'm very curious, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so let me put you in solo layout, and then we can get going from there. And look at you, you're wearing
Sure.
like bell bottoms, or maybe they're like,
I am.
They feel kind of
Bear
Spanish.
bells. Kind of, a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm like a matador.
Because of your hat, maybe.
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah.
You look lovely as always, by the way.
Thank you.
So, okay, so we were here, we were looking at this. I think I asked you, how did you get this thing here? Like, how did you manage to get it over?
So this beautiful baby here is Ivar's chariot from season 6 of Vikings. So they built this, I believe, in Belfast, Ireland. And so when the show ended, some stuff got sold off in Ireland, but some stuff got shipped to Chicago here in the U.S. To be auctioned off to people in the U.S. And this is one of the items that they auctioned off. And initially, when I looked at this auction, I was like, "There's no way I can get any of this stuff," because I assumed that it was out in LA. And I don't have a car. Yeah. But I saw on the fine print that it was actually located in a warehouse in Chicago. And I was like, wow, that's actually only like a 5-hour drive. So me and a bunch of friends actually went down on a little road trip, and we got this beautiful baby and Ragnar's throne and brought it here, which is really, really cool. And actually, believe it or not, Heidi, I won this for $60. Well, actually, a buddy of mine won it, and then he didn't want it, and I took it.
Oh my God. For him. Maybe because it's so big, they were like just wanting someone to take it. But
yeah.
So, and how in the show, was it pulled by a horse or by people?
It was pulled by a horse. And I've actually used this at photo shoots that I've done. I've done Viking themed photo shoots, and we've used this a few times. And it's a fully functioning chariot. And then the interior here is really cool. We have hides here, actual real deer hides in there. Oh, wow. And then, of course, this gorgeous tattered tapestry here as like the curtain. And there's all kinds of really cool details in here that they adorned this chariot with.
Wow.
And
they look like tiles.
So yeah, they are tiles. And they're real. I mean, they're real metal tiles here, which is really cool. And then it's got this gorgeous leaf pattern here on the roof of the chariot. So everything down to even just like the wheels. I mean, it's a real chariot that they built out of wood and steel and whatnot, which is kind of crazy.
Hi, Carl. Carl's here. He says, "Greetings, y'all." Hi, Carl. What kind of bird is that in the window?
This is a raven. So
okay.
Yep, which obviously makes sense with like Odin and whatnot.
Hmm.
And this guy is actually a prop from a different show.
Oh,
Um, I got two ravens from American Gods, the TV series.
oh, I love that
Uh,
show.
and these are actually Odin's ravens from that show, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, that's
So
a great. But the costumes in that, by the way, I just loved season one.
yeah,
At any rate,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
is there a skunk there or like a some
There
kind
is
of?
a skunk. Yeah, and I just added this
I love
just for
that.
fun effects.
I know.
Um,
So that do you take your coffee break in there? Do you go and hang out in
yes,
there?
yes,
Yes,
yes.
that's get. Or if you needed
Um,
to make a private call.
yes. Well, so we used to have all the stuff in the house, right? So
Mhm.
we used to have a little throne room in my kitchen, and oftentimes I'd find Mason just sitting there, just sipping his coffee or just hiding from me.
So cute.
So
I
super
love it.
cute.
Yeah, I
But
love it.
I'll take you guys over to this side here.
Sure.
To start off, we'll go down the line here. Um, so this here is Athelstan's costume from Vikings. This is his monk outfit.
Mhm.
It's a little basic, but Athelstan was such a big part of the show in the earlier seasons, and and Ragnar's relationship really kind of made the show what it was. And then right next to him, his arch nemesis is Floki here. This is his wedding costume from the show.
Yeah, and
And there's
that's the
so
other Skarsgård, right?
this is the other Skarsgård.
Yeah, because we were
Um,
looking at, Alexander's costume in the last video.
yeah,
That's a beautiful costume,
it
actually.
is. So he got married in this.
It's stunning. I love
In
the
season
belt.
two. Yes. I have no idea what it says. I think it's probably just gibberish, but it's still
Mhm.
really cool.
Yeah, it looks like ruins.
And then this piece here, this gorgeous red ensemble here is one of Lagatha's dresses from the show.
Mm.
And it's got this gorgeous train here that I just love. And it's kind of very zebra slash tiger printed here.
Oh, yeah.
And I saw that and I was like, oh my God, I have to have it. And I just really love the netting on the front of the dress. I think it's really interesting the way
Mhm.
that they make some of these costumes.
I like the sleeves. They look like they're gathered.
Yes,
And is it 2 pieces, like it's a gown and then an
it
over,
is.
like a long
Yep,
vest over?
a long vest. Yep.
Mhm. Oh, so
So
pretty.
she actually reused this vest a few times in the show. Um, but yeah, and then here we have Miss Freitas. This was Ivar's wife in the show.
Mhm.
Ivar ends up murdering her. Spoiler alert. But um, I just really love the color on this dress.
Oh gosh, yeah.
Um, and the way that I don't even know what they did here, but they like flocked all of this fleece in throughout here. And it's just such a gorgeous piece of fabric. And I got her for, I think, like $60 back in the day. So it was like,
Yeah.
oh my God, absolutely. Super beautiful.
It's
Um,
really beautiful. And also because I haven't like Justin was trying to get me to watch Vikings, but one of the things I remember is it's a little bit on the dark side, like color wise. So the
it
costumes
is.
probably they need to make them very bright just so that they
Yeah.
pop a bit.
So I had no idea the vibrancy of these costumes when I got them
Mhm.
in. I was very surprised because you just don't get the color in the show because they have a blue filter over the entire show.
Yeah.
So in the show, this is a very pale purple, and
Isn't
in
that
life, it's
interesting?
just so vibrant. Um, Really, really interesting. This dress was pretty important for me to get. I wanted something of this character because this is one of the only LGBT characters in Vikings. This was Astrid. And she was the partner of Lagatha for a bit in season 4.
Mhm.
And I believe it's one of the only portrayals of gay people in this time period in this culture. So, I thought that was really, really interesting what they did, and had the braveness to actually depict that in a show like Vikings, which usually you don't see something like that in.
Yeah. By the way, Carl says, "Who needs a car when you have a Viking chariot?"
That's very
Uh,
true.
yeah.
You
You'd
just
have
need
to
to
have
get a
someone,
horse.
you'd have to have, yeah, you need a horse or someone to pull it, like a
Yeah.
gondola
Yeah.
kind of thing, right?
Yeah. This next piece here is from a character named Ingrid. I liked it because it was very fairy-esque.
Mm-hmm.
And the colors, again, were just so vibrant and gorgeous. And thought would look really good on display, and it does. So, sometimes, and I got this piece about 4.5 years ago now. But even back then, I was very mindful of, okay, like, would this look really good on display? Yes, it's a minor character, but it would pop so much in person, and it got here and it did just that. So I always try and get.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say I love yellow and purple together.
Mm-hmm.
They always just, pop so nicely. I guess because they're
Yeah,
complementary.
yeah.
Carl also says Great Odin's Raven. Oh, I Great Odin's Raven. That's a Ron Burgundy from Anchorman. That's so
For
funny.
sure,
Yeah.
for sure. And again, here we have the banner flags of Lagatha
Mhm.
from the show. Really cool, very large. I mean, these are probably 7-foot flags here, maybe even 8 feet. Really cool. And then throughout here, we have a bunch of the costumes sprinkled throughout from the show. I don't have signage for everything just yet, but for the most part, I do.
So,
Um,
sorry, William, how many pieces from Vikings do you have then? It looks like you have like a lot.
I do. I have over 50 costumes
Oh
from
my gosh.
Vikings.
Wow.
On display right now, there's 26, plus 5 from the spinoff show.
Carl's saying very Targy too. Which costume, Carl, do you mean is Targy? The one there that we're looking at, the green one? Or was it I wonder which one he's meaning, or does he mean the
Like
banners?
like Targi as in Targaryen.
I think that's what he means, yeah. Or maybe he means Target.
Oh, I
The,
don't
the
know.
store. We'll wait and see what he says. So that green one is stunning. I love that.
Yeah, yeah. I'm a sucker for a good train.
Hmm.
So I saw that and I was like, oh my God, that train's amazing. Um, Over here, we have a couple of costumes that are worth mentioning. So this is the costume of Rollo, Ragnar's brother.
Hmm.
He wears this in an episode where he comes back to the show after being gone for a bit, and wears this when Bjorn, one of Ragnar's sons, finds out that Rollo is actually his father. It's a pretty prominent costume from a fairly prominent scene, an episode, because that kind of changed the way that Bjorn thought of Rollo for the rest of the show. So,
Hmm.
um,
I
and
love
then
how you speak. I love how you speak to the significance of the costume in the scene because I'm all about
mhm.
like the storytelling, and I love how you
Yeah,
do that. Or but sometimes you do want to just have something that's really pretty, right?
yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, like when I'm shopping for stuff, I'm shopping for various different reasons and whatnot. But sometimes, especially with a show like Viking with so many characters and so many costumes, it's hard to kind of pinpoint what costumes people are going to remember. Um, and I do the best I can to try and get stuff that I think will resonate with people.
Mhm.
And that people will kind of remember, but sometimes I just get stuff because it's cool and pretty. So,
Absolutely. Now, where did you get those little wooden sort of borders there, or I don't know what you call them, fencing, or?
Facebook Marketplace for free.
Are you kidding? And
Yeah.
and what were they used for originally?
They were used for a play,
Oh, they
and
were. Okay.
I saw those, and I was like, oh my God, these would be amazing for the Viking section. Because
Yeah.
initially, I just had ropes here, and this
Yeah.
just really ups the production quality a great deal. So, and just works so perfectly, and really ties in the wood of the throne and the chariot, of course.
Yeah, I love it, and
So
I love the cut, like the cut work. It does look very gothic. you know,
It
like,
does. Yeah.
uh, and now is that the throne behind, like, in
This
the
is the
cliff?
throne.
Okay,
Yep. So this is Ragnar's throne from the show. And I
sure.
also have another raven up there.
Oh,
Um, and then, of course, there's that bear that I was referring to earlier. That's a bear pelt, which is pretty
that's
cool.
hanging on the back of the chair?
No, it's underneath the chair.
Oh, it's under the chair. Oh, okay. Oh, and I see
Yeah.
and there's a skull or something there too.
Yeah. 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 But
That's
yeah,
very
so
cool.
this throne was used by Ragnar, and this is the seat of Kattegat, which was the main village in Vikings. And this throne was actually used by a multitude of characters over the 6 seasons, from Lagatha to Bjorn, Rollo, and anyone in between. So, it was used very prominently in the show. So the fact that I have it here is pretty cool considering it's so iconic.
Mhm.
If you've seen the show, I mean, it's, essentially the Iron Throne of the world of Vikings. So really, really cool to have that piece as the centerpiece of this entire
Yeah,
collection.
it really anchors it.
It
And then you
does, yeah.
and then you've got all those shields as well. Are they all
Yeah.
from the show as well?
Not all of them.
Okay.
So the Lagatha shield at the very top, the blue one, that
Yep.
is a replica.
Okay.
The one to the left of it, the small brown one, that's actually from Transformers, of all
Oh,
things.
okay.
But the red shield there with the yellow stripes on it, the pinwheel there, that is Ivar's shield from the show.
Mhm.
I could have it with his armor, but I just love the idea of having an actual shield wall. I think it frames the throne so nicely.
It does, and then you've
Um,
got, like, some axes.
Yeah, so those are
Cool.
just from, Amazon, but pretty cool. And then this yellow throne, or excuse me, yellow shield here is incredibly iconic in the world of Vikings. I'm trying not to say it's iconic as much today, but that was one of um, King Harold's shields from the show. So if anyone's seen that show, they would instantly recognize that shield
Mhm.
design. Um,
Are
so
they all made of wood?
no,
Oh, they're not?
so I think they're like polyresin
Okay.
maybe or something, or like a urethane maybe. Because it's definitely not wood. They're very light. It's almost like even like a hard rubber maybe, um, which makes sense because they fought so much with these shields. And oftentimes, what they would do is, after a character would die and they wouldn't need, like for example, King Harold's signia anymore, they would just repaint it, and then they'd reuse it for another character, and
Oh,
so on.
okay. Yeah. Carl
And
says
so,
oh, sorry. Carl says they're using the Tywes victory rune on the banner as well. Like, I think that's the one that's like this, it's straight up and then it's got the lines going out, like it's like
yeah,
an upside down umbrella
yeah.
opening up. And that's what Carl was commenting on. I think it's on
Oh,
the
sure.
banner that like, is it Lagatha?
Oh, yeah, yeah. These
Lagatha's
guys.
banner. Yeah.
Yeah. So fun little factoid for you, Heidi. When Vikings ended, they kept a lot of the stuff, like a lot of the props and stuff for the spin-off show that they made for Netflix.
Oh, okay.
So they repainted a lot of the shields for that show, and they reused a lot of that for Vikings Valhalla. And same thing with the costumes. They kept a lot of like the shoes and the belts and stuff, and they reused it for characters in that show.
Well,
So
that's good.
kind of cool. Hmm.
It's better than,
Um,
like what we were saying with some company who they destroy the costume. So it's nice
yeah,
to hear that
yeah,
they're,
yeah,
getting a second life.
yeah. It's annoying though sometimes though with like the
It's like a
shields,
one.
as a collector because I want a Lagatha shield, but they all got repainted. So it's like um, but yes, better to get reused than destroyed, I always say.
Mhm.
So um, but yeah, so we'll go into the next part here. We have some more costumes from the show, of course. But
Oh,
right when you come
that
around
gold
the
one is
corner,
beautiful. Mhm.
mhm, when you come around the corner, we want people to instantly be hit with, something iconic.
Yes.
So we have Maleficent here from Once Upon a Time. This is one of my personal favorite costumes that I own. I loved, the portrayal of this character in Once Upon a Time, played by the amazing Kristen Bauer Van Straten from True Blood.
Oh, yes, of course. Yes. I
Yes,
love
I
her.
yes, super great actress. I think another Canadian, if I'm not mistaken. I might be wrong.
Oh, wow.
Um, um, but yeah, so this costume was really hard to get. I didn't get everything. This is her screen used necklace, and then her screen used staff as well.
Mhm.
Her necklace I found on eBay about a year and a half after I got the costume.
Oh, no
And
way.
then her staff came separately after that as well. And that was through a private sale. Um, and to have all three pieces is pretty cool. And this is one of, I believe, two staffs that got out of the Disney archives. So,
That's
really,
so
really
cool.
cool.
Thanks,
Just a
Mason. He's
beautiful.
zooming in. He's zooming into the fabric and everything. That's really helpful.
Mhm.
It's
Yeah.
gorgeous.
So one of my favorite things about this costume is just all of the embellishment here with
Hmm.
all of the jewels and all of the
Oh,
detail.
yeah.
It's
The
just,
fabric is
just,
gorgeous too, though.
hmm And then my favorite thing about this staff here is this weird little like wood spine spiral thing here. Um, really, really interesting. And the sleeves are just to die for on this costume.
Now, what is it that's hanging from them? Are they feathers or is
They're
it
like little
fabric?
tassels,
Oh,
fabric
tassels.
tassels. Yeah,
Oh,
fabric
wow.
tassels here.
It's so neat.
Hmm
And of course, the headpiece
So
is iconic.
yes, it is from Party City, but you can't display a Maleficent costume without the iconic horns.
Yes.
um,
Oh, look at
so
this. Oh, look at the cloak you have there. Wow.
oh yes. So this cloak is from Once Upon a Time. It was not used ultimately in the show,
Mhm.
but I had to have it. I mean, like I said earlier, I'm just such a nut for a good train, and this is probably like a 6, 7 foot train on this thing,
Mhm.
which is kind of insane. But my guess is the reason why they didn't use it is because it ended up being too long, and maybe it was too hard for Kristen to move around in.
Mhm.
It's one of my many questions that I want to ask Eduardo at some point is what happened with this cloak because I think it's just gorgeous.
Yeah, I love the way you
Um,
displayed it, the way you've sort of pulled the train around so people can
Thank you.
see how long it
Admire
is.
the yeah.
Yeah, and it looks like a beautiful sort of brocade. What color is it? I know like
It's purple.
oh, it is purple, and
Yep.
then the
Yep.
collar has a different color as well. It
Yeah.
looks like.
So there's a sheen to it. So if you
Oh,
move
okay.
it,
Yes.
I don't know if that picks up on camera, but
Mhm.
there's like a red in it that really makes it kind of sparkle and shift colors, which is really cool, which makes it feel like it's alive with magic. So just a gorgeous, gorgeous piece that they made. And to be honest, this cloak might have been meant to go over that costume because
Mhm.
if you notice, the collar's the same.
Mhm.
So, but it's a little lower down. So the original design of Maleficent actually had three collars on it. So I don't know if you can see that there.
Yeah.
But
Oh,
do you
wow.
see
Oh,
that?
yes, I do see. That's
So
crazy.
I
Yeah.
I could 100% see that being the case. I've
Mhm.
never tried it on over that costume, but it um might be a part of that. So kind of
Now,
cool.
have you tried that cape on?
I have. I've also tried that on as well
Yeah.
because
And
I used to be a Maleficent cosplayer locally here in
oh,
Minnesota.
okay.
So I did like a really cool gender bent costume.
That's awesome.
So
And then when you wore it, did you, like, swing the train around? Like
of course, of
yeah.
course. I was doing my best Lana Parrilla impersonations. Yeah,
Yes.
just flicking my
Yeah,
train.
of
Yeah.
course. Yeah.
Um,
Oh, by the way, so if anyone's joining us just now, we're doing a tour of Williams Museum in Maplewood, Minnesota, and we did
mhm.
part one like on the weekend, and now we're doing part two. So we're just picking up where we left off. So if you're just joining us, welcome, and say hello in the chat.
Yeah. Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching our little tour.
Yeah, and then some people, if you're on the replay, it was so funny because like on when we did the other live stream, someone after we finished the recording, they left all these comments and they said, "Oh, sorry, I thought it was still live." So they were leaving all these comments, and I was like, "Sorry, what's that about?" Like I wasn't quite sure what was happening, so it was so funny. And they're like, "Oh, sorry, I thought it was live," which is fine.
Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah, our Carl saying everyone needs at least one epic cape in their collection.
That's very true. That's very true,
Mhm.
Carl. Yeah. So the nice thing about my collection is I actually have two different iterations of Maleficent,
Mhm.
which is really cool. So I also have this costume here worn by the amazing Angelina Jolie. This costume was worn in the second film,
Mhm.
Mistress of Evil. Now, again, this costume was one of the ones where I didn't get everything with it. So I didn't get the skirt piece. That skirt piece is just something that I put together myself.
Mhm.
But the bandage wrap was worn by Angelina and actually has Angelina written on the inside, which is really cool. And it has a lot of the blood stains still on it from production, which is really cool.
That's awesome.
Hmm.
And what about the horns? Are they from the production?
No, they are a
Yeah.
replica.
Oh, you did a good
Yeah.
job though, kind of putting that all together.
Thank you. Yeah. I mean, again, just one of my favorite characters, and it's so cool to have anything of her. I mean, this is the only Maleficent costume outside the Disney archives.
Mhm.
So that's really, really cool. I got it with these remnants of Connell's costume worn by Chiwetel Ejiofor, which is how I kind of knew that this was legit. Because you look at that and you're like, oh, that's just like a piece of fabric.
Mhm.
But this just completely, proved its authenticity here because it's identical to what Chiwetel wore in the film.
Mhm.
So really, really cool.
Oh, hi,
Um,
Rebecca. My friend Rebecca's here. She says, "I love the mannequin serving leg."
Thank you. Yes, she is serving leg.
Yes.
So we'll swing back over to this section here.
Sure.
So these dresses here are from a show that I just absolutely adored. Had some of the best writing in all of TV history. I don't know if you've ever seen it, Heidi, but if you haven't, you got to watch it.
No,
It's
I've heard
Black
it's
Sails.
amazing. Yeah, I've
It's
heard, and
so
Tim
good.
Aslam is the designer, I think, right?
Yes,
I
yeah, I
love
think
him.
so. But yeah, you should check it out sometime because the costume design was just so gorgeous. Black Sail stuff is really hard to get because it's such a big one for collectors. So most of the Black Sail stuff went into private collections and never came out again.
Oh, okay.
So the fact that I just have these two costumes is still pretty cool. But yeah, so and then right next to Black Sails, we have my Spartacus section here.
Oh,
So
nice.
another wonderfully written show from Stars.
Mhm.
So this red dress here was worn by the amazing Lucy Lawless from, of course, Xena.
Mhm.
Lucy in the show wore mostly red dresses. I mean, that was kind of her signature kind of like look, was a nice red dress. And I paired her here with Olivia, her arch nemesis slash best friend. Um,
Yeah, they look great together, actually, those
they
2.
do, yeah. Did you watch Spartacus, Heidi?
No, you're telling me these shows I need to watch.
Yeah, that's another really good one. You would like it, I think.
Sorry.
But then we have a couple armor sets here. of Anameus and Miss Navia here from the show. Really, really cool, detailed pieces.
I love that one breastplate, like a muscle
Yeah,
cuirass. It's like,
yeah, yeah, yeah. I went to Pompeii when I was in when I was in Rome a couple years ago, and all I could think about was this show and how these people must have lived. And it was so
mhm.
cool to see like such a historical city kind of stuck in time. Um, that was really cool. But yeah, so cool
I
costumes.
can't
And then
believe
over
how many
here,
mannequins
huh?
you have. You must have hundreds. And
Yeah. Well, right now I just put up two more this morning. So
okay.
now I think I have 147 currently up. And
Wow.
I want to say maybe like seven like unusable ones in the back right now.
Hmm.
So yeah, I have a lot of mannequins, which is insane. And I'm always getting more. I don't
Well,
know.
you need them for your just like it just makes
I
the
do.
costumes look amazing because
Yeah.
it's funny because even like some of the museums when you go online they'll just have
Yeah.
the they'll have the historical costume or dress or whatever just on a hanger or lying
Yeah.
on a
Yeah.
sheet or something. It just doesn't work, right?
Yeah. Or even like a picture frame. I've seen that
Or
like Planet
oh, okay.
Hollywood.
Oh, okay. Well, I
Um,
mean, I suppose if it's a small thing, that wouldn't be too bad.
yeah, but still, I mean, I don't know. I mean, it helps having it on a mannequin. And
Mhm,
oftentimes I'll do my best to kind of fit the mannequin to the character.
mhm.
A good example of that obviously is that Maleficent costume. And of course, Lucretia and Olivia here. I mean, the way that they're posed really kind of subconsciously reminds people of the character. I know we talked a little bit about that last time, I think, about how I try and do that. But as we go along here, you'll kind of notice too, the different poses of some of these mannequins and
Yeah, for
how they.
sure.
Um,
And
but
also
yeah,
because sometimes you have children as well, or
yeah,
maybe
and
just small or
children mannequins are really hard to find for
hmm,
full body ones, and same thing
yeah.
with male mannequins. They're really, really hard to find at like a decent price. Unless you want to spend like $300 or $400 on a mannequin. But if you wait long enough, usually you can find one within, like $40 to $75 or something like that.
Oh, okay. That's actually pretty good.
Um, yeah, but yeah, they're not easy to come by. But when I do find them, I'm usually like there within 30 minutes trying to pick it up. Yeah. Um, but over here is our dearest Anne and her.
Oh, amazing. Oh,
So,
and her mannequin is great.
mhm. So over here we have my production art board here with all of the letters and stuff from the show.
Mhm,
I have the What is Fair article here that she wrote in season 3. I also have her love letter from Gilbert here, which is really cool.
mhm.
Um, and a lot of other little fun little tidbits and whatnot. I did the best I could to kind of imbue this display with some vibes from the world of Green Gables. When I think of Anne, for some reason I always think fall. Like it's such a
Mhm.
autumn-ish show. So when I was putting this display up, I was like, I gotta have some fall leaves and stuff here to
Mhm.
kind of, you know, uh, create a bit of an atmosphere. Um, so as far as I'm aware, this is the only surviving collection of these characters in the world. I don't think anyone else has, all 4 of these characters. I know that I'm the only one that has Matthew for
Mhm.
sure. And I think I'm the only one that has this Anne costume. I know we've spoken a bit about this before, Heidi, but this is the one that I wanted the most. A lot of people who were at this auction got some of the later dresses because they could fit in them.
Hmm.
But for me, this is the pivotal one. This is the one you meet her in. And there's so much story told in this costume. Anne Dixon did such a wonderful job creating the look for this dress, and imbuing it with a story of its own. She did
Yeah.
such a wonderful job creating just a layer of just, story in the fabric of this dress. It's been rehemmed and discolored and tattered a bit. Even in the apron, you can see a lot of discoloration and patchwork here, because she
Hmm.
would have, outgrown this costume, and it would have been refitted to her over the years. So yeah, so
Yeah, it's definitely one of my favorites. Yeah, because
yeah,
even the pinafore is kind of short, right? Like for a girl
yeah,
of her age.
yeah, uh-huh,
And you can see where the hem has been let down over, and over and again.
yeah.
I love that. Now, did you have to pick up a hat though for
I
her? Like,
did, yeah.
yeah.
So I found that at Kohl's. I was
Oh,
like, this will
okay.
do. Yeah.
And I know you were telling me that Anne told you where to find stockings, so you were able
She
to find.
did. Yeah. So these stockings were from the original place that Anne got the stockings from. So
They're really
they're
nice.
essential. Yeah. Um, and then we have Miss Diana, her best friend
Mhm.
here. This is her costume from season 3. Really, really gorgeous, and signature Diana with the blue there. And then this is Marilla, of course.
Oh, the Marilla's
Uh,
amazing.
I have this belt here, specially made for this costume for a display, because Anne Dixon said that Geraldine James,
Mhm.
who played Marilla, kept one of the belts, and then one of the other producers has one. So
Oh, okay.
that's where the belt ended up, I
Yeah,
guess,
by the
which
way,
makes sense.
Geraldine James, I don't know if you saw Silo. She's on Silo, at least season 1 of Silo. And
I
I didn't
haven't,
recognize her at first because her hair, she has naturally gray hair.
yeah,
But I think for the show, they were dyeing it. And
sure,
so to make her look more like, like Colleen Dewhurst, I suppose, from the original.
sure.
But yeah, that belt, I absolutely love it. It's funny because that belt reminds me a lot of like Sansa Stark's belt in like the later seasons of Game of
Oh
Thrones.
yeah, yeah, a little bit, yeah. Yeah, Geraldine, I think that's the last time I saw her in something was in the Downton Abbey movie.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah, she was like Princess someone. Yeah, she was in like the royal family. Um, but yeah, love her.
Amazing.
Yeah. And here we have some of the more iconic props that I have from the show. I don't have much for
Mhm.
props, like physical props other than paper. But we obviously have Diana's little poodle there, and one of Anne's baskets with some of the hay from King Gables still in it. And then her wonderful little potato light there from season 2. Super
Yeah,
cute.
it is adorable.
So yeah, that's my Anne collection.
Amazing. I love it.
Um, over here, this is my little magician's corner.
Uh-huh.
Now, I own the biggest collection of magician's costumes out there. I ended up getting 17 boxes of costumes from magicians,
Wow.
which was the best mail day ever,
Mhm.
Heidi. That was so much fun. And the best part is I didn't know what was in those boxes because in the liquidation sale, they only posted a picture of the clothing racks. So I actually had to go through the episodes and kind of pinpoint the fabrics
Yes.
and the costume, which was a very time consuming. But I'm really happy that I did it because I was able to get most of the fillery stuff, like the
Mhm.
fantasy stuff. Um, this show, um, is one of the shows where they didn't seem to spend a lot of time on the costumes. A lot of these costumes don't have linings to them,
Mhm.
and they're kind of weirdly put together and whatnot. But they probably had a very short turnaround time. But it's so fascinating to me, kind of seeing like the level of quality in costumes depending on like what production house it comes out of. Obviously, this was a sci-fi show, so they didn't have the biggest budget, I'm sure.
Mhm.
But you know, they did a really good job with the limited means that they had, and created some really interesting costume pieces.
Yeah, my husband watched
From
that show. He
Okay,
really loved it because there's a lot of contemporary clothing in it as well, right? Like just everyday
there
clothing.
is, yeah,
Yeah.
they switch out. So
Okay.
as
Oh,
much like
sure.
it's much like Once Upon a Time in that way, where like they spend half the episode in Fantasyland and half the
Yeah.
episode in modern day.
Oh, okay.
Um, you know, Magicians for me is really cool to get stuff from because in the show, I don't know if you've seen it, but um, it kind of takes place in like a sister like mirror world to
Mhm.
Narnia,
Oh, okay.
um, where you know there's like talking animals and they have to go through a magical portal to get there. And originally in the books, the intent was for it to be a part of that world, but obviously with copyright they weren't able to do it.
Mhm.
Um, so it's kind of cool to have costumes from two kind of like sister fantasy worlds a little bit. That's really interesting to me,
Mhm.
with some of the Narnia stuff as well. So these costumes have a lot of brocade in them. This is one of my favorite ones. This is Elliot's costume from the show, and he wears this costume a great deal. And it's a very heavy fabric that they made this out of. And this is one of the few ones where it does actually have a lining.
Oh,
And
okay.
my guess is it's because he wore this so much.
Mhm.
So clearly one of the more expensive costumes here. And this is a picture of him in it.
Mhm.
And this electric blue one was worn by Margot in the show, and it's just so couture.
Mhm.
Um, it's so interesting, especially in position to the silver one here. Um,
Yeah, it's a really interesting fabric.
it
That
is,
sort of
yeah,
cobalt.
yeah.
It
Well, and
looks
it's kind of got this really
scaly.
weird, like honeybee kind of
Oh,
like
okay. Yeah.
design on it, like this, like
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's what I was trying to figure out. It looked like scaly.
yeah.
Oh, I see what you mean. Yes.
And then this piece here is very interesting. This was the Fairy Queen
Mhm.
um, in the show. Um, a very odd design, but this is what the fairies wore in the show. This weird kind of netting fabric. Um, but yeah,
It's kind of pretty though.
it's kind of pretty. It's basic but pretty, and it's very
Yeah.
ethereal. I
It is.
really
I think
like
maybe
it.
that's what it is.
Yeah,
Did they do like effects with it? Like, was the wind blowing or, like maybe
not usually. They did
really? Okay.
fly.
Oh, they fly.
So
Okay.
yeah, so sometimes the wind would billow through it, but there wasn't too much effects in that show, really. I mean, so um, but yeah, over here we have a few costumes from The Last Airbender.
Mhm.
The one that we don't talk about from 2010. Um, but it's really cool to have a physical representation of this world. And I have all four nations, which is
That's
pretty cool.
amazing.
Um, yeah, and I hope to get stuff from the Netflix series at some point too.
The orange one, is that the one that was on the poster? Or maybe I'm thinking of the new one because it looks like the one that's
Well,
in the child.
yeah. So this is an air nomad. So this
Okay.
isn't Aang per se, but it
Okay.
is someone from the air tribe here.
Okay.
So very similar.
That's very
Um,
cool that you have
hmm
all four.
hmm Um, Over here, we have some of the props that I own. I don't have a lot of props. I'm 100% a costume guy.
Yes.
But I have to have some props. Otherwise, what's the
Oh,
point?
look at the Wonka bar.
Hmm
Awesome. Yeah.
Um,
And it's True Blood. Is that is it Fangs?
yeah. So we have Pam's fangs there from
Oh,
True
no
Blood.
way. That's so funny to tie in with your Maleficent.
Yeah.
Um,
And then
Rebecca, who was here earlier, she's a huge True Blood fan.
I
What's that
have,
say? Oh, American Gods coin. It's
yeah.
Mad
hmm
City.
hmm Um, Over here, we have a pair of scissors from Us, the horror film.
Oh, that's
You know,
awesome.
I'm
Yes,
not a
yes,
horror
Rebecca.
person.
Rebecca said, "Did someone say Sookie?" Yeah,
Yeah.
William's got Pam's fangs from True Blood. Isn't that cool? The
hmm
scissors are that is amazing.
Yeah. I'm not a horror fan, but I got a really good deal on these guys. So
Mm.
I was like, why not?
That would be
Um,
cool to get their costumes. I don't know if they came out for auction,
yeah.
but it would
Their
probably be
overalls. They last time I was there, they had them on display in the Academy Museum.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So that was cool to see. One of my personal favorite things in this display case is this little coin from a Disney Channel movie back in the day called Luck of the Irish.
Mhm.
So I'm sure you've probably never seen that, but
I remember you had you sending that to me, the picture of
oh
it.
yeah. hmm Um, these little guys are new. It's not much, but I got some silverware here from the Grinch.
Oh, I
I
love it.
I have a lot of Grinch props right now on layaway that I've been paying off. So eventually those will go in like a little Christmas display
Oh,
for
they're so
Christmas time.
cute.
hmm
Yeah, Rebecca says that the scissors are great. I love that movie, by the way, Us. I love
hmm
all anything by Jordan Peele. You're not a big horror fan, but I'm a big fan of his.
I really like Nope. That was really
Oh,
good.
Nope was crazy. Yeah.
Yeah. In here we have some production made Beast paws from Beauty and the Beast with Emma Watson.
Oh my
The Beast
gosh.
was a CGI character, but they did create an entire Beast suit for Dan to wear
Mhm.
because they initially were going to do a physical practical Beast suit, but it just wasn't really working, so they decided to go digital.
Sure.
But still really cool to have anything from that film.
That's very cool.
hmm Um, and of course, in the corner here, we have an orc mask from Bright, a Will Smith film on
I saw
Netflix.
it. Yes, I saw that movie. It was a really good movie.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
I think it
Um,
was on Netflix, if I recall.
it was on Netflix,
Hmm.
yeah. So another film that we don't talk about, Eragon here.
Mhm.
Um, we have Eragon's costume and his sword from Eragon. Um, I hated the movie. It was the first movie I remember seeing as a kid where I was like, that was a really bad movie.
Yeah.
Um,
Wait, what year did that come out?
2006.
You know what, though? It's such a great costume. The pants are
It
amazing.
is. Yeah. And they're like lowrider pants. I
Mhm.
don't know if Mason's picking that up on the
I remember you sent
phone
me a
there,
picture, and
but
the front lacing is so cool, and the
yeah.
vest, the whole thing is really amazing, actually.
Yeah. Um,
You
and
gotta
to
know who
then
the
have
designer
this
was.
Kim Barrett,
Okay.
known for The Matrix and Cloud Atlas,
Oh,
and
oh, well, there you go.
Shang-Chi.
Oh, well, there you
She
go.
also,
Yeah.
she also did the costumes for Us. Look at that.
Oh, oh my gosh, there's the tie-in.
Yeah,
But The
funny.
Matrix, I mean, seriously, come on.
Yeah,
That's iconic.
yeah, super iconic. Good
What
for
a
Kim.
great you could see the talent there,
Yeah,
even if the movie wasn't that great. Isn't that funny?
yeah,
There's sometimes there are shows I've watched, I'm like, "This movie's not that great or show's not that great, but wow, the costumes are killing
yeah,
it."
yeah,
And then you sometimes have the opposite,
yeah,
where you have a
yeah.
really great show and the costumes are like,
And terrible
Yeah,
costumes. Yeah,
but I always have such admiration for a designer who is working on a show that may not be that great, but they just, they don't care. They just plow through and they just give it their all.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, sometimes that's what saves the production,
Mhm.
you know? I had the misfortune of working on a film once where it was a terrible production. But I like to think that I saved it with the costume
Oh,
design.
that's awesome.
Uh, but um, but yeah, so for Eragon here, it's really cool to have the costume and his iconic sword from the film,
Mhm.
Zorok. And the sword is really cool. So the hilt is actually dragon heads. So I don't know
Oh,
if you can see that there, but
sort of. Is like, what's his character? Is he like some type of mythological character?
so he's a
That
dragon
that
rider.
Oh, he's a dragon rider. Okay.
Yep,
Okay.
yep. So that makes sense for him to have dragons on
Yeah,
his sword.
for sure.
Um, but yeah, I love those books so much when I was a kid. So really cool to have just a physical piece of that world again. So
So it's based
yeah.
on a book series then?
It is, yeah.
Oh,
And I
and then
have
you put
all
the
of
books
my
there. Isn't
yeah,
that nice how you've done that
yeah.
again with your lovely curating?
Oh, stop it,
No, it's
Heidi.
true. It's true. I would
Yeah.
never have thought of something like that.
Yeah, well, I had them and I was like, well, it makes sense to display the
Mhm.
books, with the costumes. I've done that as much as I can. I also have like the Lemmy Snicket's books over there with the costumes as well.
Mhm.
And it's just a fun little like detail to add to the displays for people, I think.
Yeah, because I
But
didn't
yeah.
even know that was a book series until,
Hmm.
you told me that.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, they're supposed to make it into a live action show on Disney Plus at some point here.
Okay.
Um, so yeah, so maybe hopefully that'll be good and take off, kind of like how Percy Jackson did.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, so next in line here we have a couple of costumes from a movie called The Great Wall with Matt Damon.
Oh, yeah, look at that armor. My god.
Hmm. So this brown one here is worn by Matt, of course.
It's really nice.
Um, but this gold one here, this dragon armor from the film, is just gorgeous
Mhm.
from head to toe. It just drips regal, and I actually have 7 armor sets from this film
I think I
because
remember
I
you
got
telling
these
me
guys
that.
when yeah, well, in my cosplay days, I thought it'd be really cool to have my own like Queen's card when I did my Maleficent
Mhm.
cosplay. And where else can you get such high detail fantasy armor, and
Mhm.
in sets? So I kind of went all out with costumes from this film, specifically for that reason. And then I kind of retired from doing cosplay, and now I just have some really cool armor to put up. So um,
So do you
really
think
cool.
eventually you'll expand, like, once you get more mannequins, you'll expand that exhibit to include some of that other armor?
So I have 3 of them up right now. They're just in the
Oh,
window in the
okay.
entryway on the other side of the
Oh, okay.
space.
Because 'Cause wasn't one of them
Um,
purple? I thought,
yes, I
maybe
have 4 purple and 2 red.
okay. Mhm.
So
Now the
um,
Matt Damon one, did it come
mhm.
did it come with the quiver and the bow and arrow?
No. So these came with one of the red armor sets that I got,
Oh,
but he
okay.
does use them in the film.
Okay.
So you can see there in the picture that he kind of has them um,
Oh, that was,
on
like,
his
fortunate.
armor.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was like, well, might as well put that with the costume.
Looks great.
Next in line here is a personal favorite of mine. Um, this is a show that came out in 2008 and lasted 2 seasons called Legend of the Seeker.
Mhm.
Um, it was a show that was an adventure of the week kind of show, um, and was kind of similar to Merlin a little bit,
Mhm.
where it was, a different thing every week, and monsters and whatnot, and true love. Um, but yeah, just like one of our last true fantasy shows. And I really liked it. It was kind of cheesy at first and whatnot, but it kind of grew on me. So
Oh, Sarah's
eventually,
here. Sarah says, I love The Legend of the Seeker. I love her coat.
yeah, yeah.
Well, that cloak there is beautiful. That's a
This one
man's
here,
cloak. The one
this
on the
one.
right. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's Zed,
Mhm.
played by Bruce Spence. Um, Again, with these costumes, I didn't get all of the pieces. I didn't get any of the original belts or anything or shoes, with the exception of Kaylin, the green dress here. But I did the best I could to kind of replicate the looks. If you look at the pictures here, you can see it's almost exact um, to how he would have worn it in the show.
Oh, it's really gorgeous. It's funny how much darker again it looks in the pictures compared to
Yeah,
the
yeah.
mannequin.
hmm But this is such an old show now. So, the fact that I have the main character with Richard here, but all three of them, the whole trio, is quite impressive because, I mean, they didn't make very many of these costumes. So, to have the entire set is pretty crazy. We got a really good deal on Richard and Zed here, but Kaylin cost a whopping like $2,300,
Oh my gosh.
which is
Wow.
kind of a lot to pay for a show that no one's really heard of that got
Mhm.
canceled after 2 seasons. But I think it was worth it to me to kind of complete the trio.
Mhm.
So yeah, the things you spend money on things sometimes is just kind of crazy. This costume here I just put up this morning, so I don't have a sign for it yet, so I apologize. But
Okay.
this was worn by Saoirse Ronan in The Host.
Oh, okay.
This was a Stephanie Meyer book adaptation
Yes.
from Twilight. And I actually really enjoyed this film. I thought it was really well done. So yeah, so pretty cool. Of course, Saoirse went on to do a lot of really great roles. And
Yeah,
is one
she's
of
super famous now.
yeah, she really is, and
She
one
was
of
like a child
Ireland's.
actor, I think. She started as
She
a child.
was,
Yeah.
yeah, in Atonement, I think, and Lovely
Atonement.
Bones, and
Oh, that's right. Yes,
um,
Atonement.
yeah. Um, this little fella here is very iconic. Again, my favorite word. Um, but everyone knows what this is. This
Yeah.
is Thing One from Cat in the Hat, of course. Everyone always asks me where's Thing Two, and I always tell them that he's on break. Um,
So
uh,
they auctioned them separately then.
I don't think they ever auctioned a Thing Two. I don't know what
Oh,
happened to Thing Two. I've seen other
so
Thing
funny.
Ones, but I've never seen a Thing Two out there in the world.
Mhm.
So just don't know what happened to them. That's just one of the many mysteries of the costume auction world, is what happened to the Thing Two.
Mhm.
So I've seen maybe 5 or 6 Thing One costumes go up over the years, but never Thing Two.
And is that your own wig? Did you
No.
get?
So this is one of the rare exceptions where one of the wigs survived.
You're
It's
kidding.
very hard. It's very hard to get wigs. Usually
Yeah.
wigs don't ever get out, and if they do, they're in terrible condition.
Mhm.
So this is one of the original wigs from the film. I bought them separately. Um, but yeah, this was just a random um, acquisition not that long ago. I randomly put a post out there asking if anyone had a Thing One costume, and
Mhm.
I got hit up by 2 people. One had the wig and the other had the costume. And I was
That's
like,
amazing.
yeah. So super cool. This has been a really big hit with the kids.
Oh,
Whenever
I'm
the kids
sure.
come around the corner, they instantly go to Thing One.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure.
Um, so this next set here is from a personal favorite film of mine when I was a kid, called Ella Enchanted,
Oh,
with
yeah.
Anne Hathaway and one of me and Mason's favorite actresses, Lucy Punch. We love Miss Punch.
Mhm.
She obviously, of course, played Esme Squalor in Series of Unfortunate Events as well. So
Mhm.
all of those costumes that we went over last weekend were
Oh,
worn by the same
these are so
actress. So
cute, these costumes, these outfits.
yeah, yeah.
The one on the right is
Um,
adorable, that pink one.
yeah, so this was worn by Vivica A. Fox.
Yes.
And it's so 2004. Look at those
Mhm.
boots, Heidi. Those
Which are
are
amazing.
such 2004 boots. Um,
Yeah, they were
and
overpainted, I remember in your close-up pictures, right?
yeah.
And Anne just wears
Um,
little ballet flats?
she does, yeah.
Yeah,
So this, costume she doesn't wear for too long in the film, but to have anything Anne Hathaway is really, really cool. Because
absolutely.
she's such an A-list actress.
Yeah.
And Anne Hathaway, if you ever see this video, I love you so much. Um, but yeah, I mean, of course, I would love to get, one of her costumes from Princess Diaries, but
Mhm.
I'm sure Disney will never let that happen. So this is the next best thing.
Yeah.
Um, this orange ensemble here, worn by Lucy Punch, again is such a 2004 type outfit that they obviously took inspiration from the fashion trends of the time, from like the hip belt there to the little juicy couture purse. The really cool thing about this costume is when I got it in, it still had the I Love Char pin still attached to it, which was really
Yeah,
cool. The fact that it stayed attached, I mean, all these years. I mean, Heidi, this movie turned 20 years old today, or
that's great.
this year.
Yeah, I know it.
So
I keep seeing like, "Oh, this movie is now this old, this movie's now," and I'm like, "Oh my
yeah,
god, where did time go?"
yeah, I know. Um, but yeah, so another thing that I have from this film is the poison crown,
Mhm.
used and worn by the ever amazing Carrie Elwes from
Oh,
Princess Bride.
oh, love him.
Uh,
So
mhm.
sorry, I haven't
Uh,
seen the film. He's a villain, I'm assuming.
he is the villain, and he did a
Yeah.
wonderful job. I actually saw Carrie Elwes in like a presentation that he did here. He did like a touring of like a I don't know what it was. Like it was like a viewing of Princess Bride, and then he came out afterwards and kind of talked a little bit
Oh, isn't
about.
that amazing?
Yeah, that was cool.
So, yeah, I just saw him in, what is it, The Gentleman? I just saw him in yeah, I think it was The Gentleman, or it was like
Yeah.
it was one of it was a Guy Ritchie movie. He was really good in it.
Oh yeah. I think The Gentleman. Yeah.
Yeah.
How long until they reboot Princess Bride?
Oh my gosh. I know, no kidding.
um, this costume here is from Robin Hood,
Mhm.
2018, with Taron Egerton.
Taron,
The
yeah, he's
most.
another he's another, hot sing right
Oh
now.
yeah. I mean, well, and he's just hot, Heidi, in
He is hot.
general.
I just saw Sing too, and
Okay.
I was like, "Who is that singer doing the
Was it
gorilla?"
Taron?
It was Taron. He was
Wow.
amazing. Like, he
What?
is, yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Oh,
obviously he
yeah.
was also in
There's always
Rocket Man.
he was incredible in Rocket Man.
Yeah,
Rebecca says there's always talk about rebooting Princess Bride.
I
So you
know.
see,
They better not
Wesley, I
touch
am
it. Don't touch
not
it.
yeah, so you
Well,
see,
they
Wesley,
just
I'm not the
they
real Dread Pirate Roberts either.
yeah. They just announced that they are going to remake the Neverending Story, I think.
Oh, okay. That's interesting.
So,
I've been
yeah.
I've been going back with my kids and watching all those old movies.
Mhm.
Like, I know they're remaking, what is it? It's a Terry Gilliam movie, Time Bandits. They're redoing that.
Oh,
So I
yeah.
just watched that with my kids, and it's gonna be Taika Waititi's doing it. No, I refuse. Yeah,
um,
Carl's thing is practically perfect. I know it's one of those things that
yeah.
it's a little bit upsetting sometimes, when they redo
Yeah.
these movies.
Yeah, they just got to leave them alone.
Yeah, like, they haven't redone The Wizard of Oz. I mean, you know what I
I mean,
mean?
they
Like,
kind of have. I mean, they
have they?
did that one with James Franco and Mila Kunis.
Oh, you're right. They did do
Yeah.
that. Okay. That
Yeah.
was okay, you're right. Yeah, but
Yeah.
I mean, they didn't do
I think
the
it was like
original original.
it was like a prequel technically, but
Sure.
still, I mean, yeah. So this next part here is kind of the end a little bit, or the beginning of the end. So here we have George Weasley's costume from Harry Potter.
Mhm.
One of the most iconic film histories of all time. Film histories, that doesn't make any sense. One of the most iconic films in film history, obviously, Harry Potter. This costume was from The Prisoner of Azkaban, which came
Mhm.
out in 2004 as well. So he just turned 20 as well.
Oh. Mhm.
Um, the fact that I have anything from Harry Potter is insane. The fact that I have a named character costume is insane. And the fact that I have a Quidditch robe is insane. Because,
Yeah.
that this stuff just doesn't get out. Um,
What about the broom though? Did that come with it, or did you get that
no.
somewhere else?
So the only thing on here that is original to the film is the Quidditch robe itself.
Okay.
But,
And then you got the goggles separately.
yeah. hmm
That is
Um,
amazing.
but if Mason can get in close here, you can see the house crest there on
Oh,
uh,
yes.
the breast there, and then of course
Yeah.
it says Weasley above there. Um,
What's it made out of?
so it's a windbreaker material,
Oh, it is. Oh, interesting. Oh, there you go. Yeah, like isn't that awesome?
and then this here is, I think it's either felt or it's why am I blanking on the word? Velvet. I believe it's velvet.
Yeah.
So really nice. But yeah, you can see the kind of the detail in the material here.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, when I was young, we used to call that spinnaker fabric because that's what they use in sailcloth. Like it's got that sort of diamond pattern, you know?
sure. Um, the back is really cool. So the back is the most iconic part about the costume because you see the back when they're on the brooms all the time. So the
Hmm.
back is kind of what you recognize from the films. And of course, it says Weasley here with his number on it, which is really cool.
Is that stenciled on, like or painted on, or is
It
it a
is.
embroidery?
It's like some sort of adhesive that they've
Oh,
done,
okay,
much
sure.
much like a modern day tracksuit.
Hmm.
But it's a different type of material that they've pressed onto here.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, and then of course we have the floating candles here that I've tried to kind of recreate the vibe of the world of Harry Potter, just to kind of get a little extra detail.
Oh, yeah. I wasn't sure what Mason was pointing at, but now I see what you're
Oh
saying. That's very
yeah,
cool.
yeah. Over here we have a couple costumes from American Gods.
Oh, yes. I
We
love that
have
movie,
Miss
that show.
Laura Moon and Shadow
Mhm.
Moon here from the show, and then I also have their wedding picture from their living room, which is
Oh,
kind of a
nice.
fun little detail.
Yeah, Laura
Um,
wears that dress, like, I think a lot.
she does, yeah, because she like died in that dress, I think, and that's what she woke up in, I
She comes
believe.
out of she pulls herself out of the grave, I think,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Now
hmm
when did Shadow wear that robe? Is there a ceremony? I'm
That's
trying to
from
remember.
season 3.
Yeah, with
So
the
you can kind
tree?
of see it in this picture here, season
Okay.
3.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh, there, okay, yeah.
but yeah, so
Very
I
cool.
also have Mr. Wednesday's like white suit that he wears often, but that's in the back.
Oh, you're kidding me. That's amazing. I love his
Yeah,
suit.
yeah,
His
yeah,
overcoat was great too, because he wears a suit and then
yeah,
a really nice overcoat.
yeah.
What's the director's chair? Did you get that from the
This
production?
is yeah. So I actually got a lot of the director's chairs because they were pretty cheap. So this one is Ostara because I love Kristen Chenoweth. So
Mm.
this was her chair back from season 1.
Yeah, so she was Easter, I think, right?
She was Easter. Yep.
Mhm. I loved her
Um,
costumes actually in the show. She wore these really cute butterfly sandals, I
Shoes.
remember.
Yeah.
Shoes,
I
yeah.
almost bought them. I almost
Oh, did
bought
you?
them. Yes. um, so these 3 costumes are from a Netflix film called The School for Good and Evil. Um, obviously, these two costumes here took a lot of inspiration from Disney's Cinderella.
Mhm. Oh,
This
it's beautiful
costume,
though.
especially, is very similar to what Prince Charming wore in Cinderella. Um,
Great
and
Omen
then,
Raven. Same Carl again.
oh,
Because Carl, he's got two of Odin's ravens.
I
He got
do.
two of them from American Gods, but they're, you can move them around every once in a
I
while.
can,
Yeah,
yeah. Right now they're over in Viking land,
in Viking
which
land, yes.
honestly, that's where they want to be.
For sure.
That's
Of course
where
they do.
that's where they belong.
Yeah.
When I have one perched on Ragnar's throne, which I think is such a fun little detail
Yeah.
to have.
By the way, I love your
Uh,
little tongue-in-cheek little signage you have, like "Don't be handsy."
Thank you. Yeah, my
Yeah,
friend made that for me.
that's really
Um,
nice.
yeah,
Yeah, you've got
he
the thing in
also he also made these fun little signs over here. Um, area under surveillance
hand. That's
with
awesome. Oh, is it it's from
the Eye of
Lord of the Rings?
Sauron.
The Eye of
Yeah.
Sauron. That's so funny. And then also I've noticed that you've thrown like rose petals or flower
Yeah,
petals on the
yeah,
ground as
yeah,
well.
yeah. Just to
That's very
brighten up the
pretty.
space a little
It's
bit
nice.
and give a little fantasy.
What's the
Um,
trunk behind Ron Weasley, by the way? You've got like a
oh,
trunk.
this little girl. It's just the girl on fire, Heidi.
No, no, not Katniss Everdeen. No, the
Oh,
trunk
okay.
behind the trunk that you have like
The trunk.
behind
Oh,
Ron. Yeah.
that.
Is that just
Just a trunk.
Oh,
I got
okay.
this from a friend of mine at a garage sale, and I was like, I'm gonna use that for Weasley here.
I love it. It's great.
But yeah,
It's
it's
an
just a fun
old-fashioned
little extra
steamer trunk.
detail. Yeah.
Sauron Surveillance
Um,
Company, Carl's saying.
but I do have Harry's acceptance letter there from Harry
Oh,
Potter.
nice. Oh, lovely. And is the letter on the inside or is it just the envelope?
There is a letter on the inside, yes.
Mhm. But no, I know yes, so you have Katniss Everdeen, Girl on
I do
Fire,
have Katniss. I also have PETA.
and PETA. Mhm.
But yeah, so this costume obviously is synonymous with catching fire. She wears this throughout the second film. In the 75th Hunger Games, the Quarter Quell.
Mhm.
A lot of these costumes that I have really deserve wigs because, there's certain characters where their hair is so synonymous with the costume and the character. So, obviously with Anne, she's got to have her red hair. And with Katniss, you have to have a braid, right? Because it's such a big part of the character.
Yes.
So,
And
and
no,
then,
what about the boots? Did you just get boots on your own?
yeah, Goodwill.
It looks great.
So thank you.
And I don't know if you've seen the new movie, but it's the same
I
designer
have.
as Catching Somerville.
Is
It's
it?
the same designer.
Okay.
Have you seen the new one?
I have, yeah. Me and
Yeah,
Mason went to go see it.
what'd you think of it?
I kind of thought it was a little boring, to be honest with
Okay.
you. But I don't know. I was a big Josh Hutcherson fan. I have been
Mhm.
since I was a little kid, and there was no Josh Hutcherson, so I was a little peeved about
Yeah.
that.
But you've got a shirt.
But I do have a shirt. I
Yeah.
do.
Peter Millar.
From Peter Millar, from the first movie. Super
By the
cool.
way, I just saw him in a movie and he was so good.
Was it Friday Night at Freddy's or whatever?
It was The Beekeeper.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Five
it's
Nights at
really
Freddy's.
good. I saw Five Nights at Freddy's. I went to see it with my kids.
Yeah.
But in The Beekeeper, he plays the villain.
Yeah. Yeah, he's such a good actor, and he's one of the child actors who really made it, He didn't go crazy. He's still in the business.
He is.
He's
solid. My husband just watched a series with him, like a fantasy show that he was in. It's like 3 seasons. He just watched the whole thing.
Oh, I know because there was an auction for that. Future Man.
It's something like that where they do time traveling, and it's kind of kind of reminded me a little bit of Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. It's sort of
A
tongue.
little bit, yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
not meant to, be taken too seriously.
Yeah. Yeah, they auction
Future
all the
Man,
stuff
there's
off
thanks,
from
thanks, Sarah.
Future
Oh, my
Man.
husband,
Yep.
yeah, my husband he binged it very quickly. But that's very
Um,
cool. So maybe eventually you'll get Peeta's pants.
hopefully.
It's
Hopefully,
it's
yes.
it's weird that they auctioned the shirts without the pants.
Yeah, I mean, but again, this is another thing where sometimes things just get spread to the four winds. I'm sure at some point, this was sold originally maybe with the pants, and then somebody didn't get the pants, and then they bought the pants from this person, and then I bought the shirt and whatnot. This
Now, does
set
it say
just
the
sold in
district?
the.
Oh, sorry. I
It
was gonna
does,
ask you,
yeah.
does
It
it
says,
say the district on the
yep,
back?
yep, and on the sleeves
And
here,
on
so
the
District
sleeves, yeah.
12.
Oh, there it is. Yes, because I
Um,
remember seeing that. I saw the pictures in auction when I did my video. Yeah, there. I really
um,
love those costumes, actually. It's a different designer.
it
Jordana.
is,
She also did Harry
yeah,
Potter. Uh,
Judiana
yes,
Makovsky.
Markovsky. Yeah, I really
Yeah.
like the costumes in the first movie. I mean, I like them all, but I mean, Trisha, she really brought it like up another level, Trish.
Mm,
But to establish it was a huge undertaking, I think,
yeah.
to create
Yeah.
that whole world.
Yeah.
And also there's
Nerve-wracking, I'm sure.
yeah, and then Donald Sutherland just passed away. So
He
it's like,
did.
a lot of
Yeah.
people are doing tributes to him and everything, even though
Yeah.
he had a huge body of work, but a lot of people from the Hunger Games just,
Yeah.
remember him so
Yeah.
fondly.
Well, they just announced that they're gonna make another prequel film because she's coming out with another book.
Mhm.
So I'm hoping that they cast Kiefer as
Mhm.
as like a younger version of Snow
Yeah.
in that film
A
because
lot of
that would
people
be
were
a
saying
cool
that.
homage.
Mhm. There's an
Yeah.
actor, actually, I don't know if you've seen the movie The Holdovers. The actor in The
Yeah.
Holdovers looks to me just like a young Donald Sutherland. Um,
Mason, do you know the name of the young guy from the Holdovers?
he's so great in it. Like, it's such a great movie.
He was up for like Oscars, I think, for that. He did a good
Yeah,
job.
good job. Anyway, as soon as I saw him, I was like, "Oh my god, he looks like," because Donald Sutherland wasn't really that blonde. Like, when he was younger, he was
Mm,
kind of dirty blonde.
yeah,
Kinda make him
yeah,
super blonde in the prequels, right? So,
yeah.
anyway, that would be really interesting if they do that.
Yeah.
Sorry to go on a
But
tangent here,
no, you're totally fine. Yeah, it's cool to have a little tribute to Mr. Sutherland here. Don't have
Yeah.
any of his costumes, but still really cool to have.
Now I did see Katniss's, bow, I think, an arrow go up for auction.
But it's so
Maybe
expensive.
it was I think
I
I
think,
think I was I think we oh, it was, yeah, prop store. We
yeah,
were talking with them, and I mentioned that you had um, her
costume.
quarter quell costume.
Yeah,
Mhm. 'Cause it's kind of it's more aquatic, if I
yeah.
recall, whereas
If I
Peeta's.
recall, the starting bid for that was like $20,000 or something,
Oh,
and
it's
I was like,
crazy. Yeah.
yeah, I was like, good luck to you, and I don't think it sold. So,
Oh, it's crazy. And then whereas Peeta's is not, he doesn't wear that in the arena. That's their
mm-mm.
training outfit. But the training
Yeah,
outfits were really cool.
yeah. Prop stores prices have just gotten crazier and crazier and crazier as
I've
the years
noticed that
go on.
they're quite expensive. Yes.
Yeah. Um, but yeah, so the next two parts are my personal favorite parts of this entire exhibit. These are things that I have worked on for many years, and are some of my best little creative babies.
Okay.
So I wanted to immerse people in the worlds of the costumes and props from these two things.
Mhm.
Um, and I think I did an okay job. You'll have to let me know. But welcome to the jungle, Heidi.
Wow, look at this. Oh, look at the lighting. Oh, and then the lights come on. Wow.
So we'll start right off the bat here. I have a copy here from The Lost World.
Mm-hmm.
This is a production maquette from Stan Winston Studios here.
Oh, so cool.
Really, really cool to have anything from Jurassic Park. Obviously,
Is that
someday
from
I'd
the
love to.
original? Is that from the original Jurassic Park?
This is from the second film.
Oh, the second one. Okay.
Yep. Hopefully someday I can get like an actual like T-Rex head or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah. And then in this corner here, we have the tablet of Achman Ra from the Night at the Museum.
Oh, nice. Oh,
Used in all.
that's an amazing piece.
Really iconic prop there.
So, now with the lighting, how did you do that? Is it black light or what is
It
it?
is. Yeah. So I have a black light up here,
Yep.
up on the ceiling. And then I
Okay.
have a bunch of string lights that
Oh, it's
are purple.
it looks purple. Yeah. Sarah's saying so pretty. Great job on this room.
Thanks, Sarah.
Yeah. By the way,
Um,
as I mentioned this at the very beginning of the stream, I don't think I've mentioned it again, that that William, he's financed this museum himself and everything, and so
mhm.
he's got a GoFundMe. So if anybody is interested in supporting him, I've pinned it in the comment. If anyone's watching on the replay, even if you want to support William, so that he can continue to do what he's very passionate about.
Yeah, it's not an easy thing to do. We've
This
been.
is really incredible.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Rebecca.
Yeah. I mean, this is the Midwest's first, I think, and only film museum. So
Mhm.
that's pretty cool. And I think it's really cool to have a space for people to come and learn about what goes into movie making and costume design. But it's a very hard thing to do by oneself. So if there's anyone out there who wants to, throw out $1 or $2 to help us stay afloat, that'd be great. There's also a Patreon that we have. But yeah,
I'll
it's
get that
been
from you
a
later,
lot.
and then I can add that to the
Yeah,
description.
yeah. Can't imagine how much it costs just to get curtains. Like, because we have about 15,000 square feet of space here of exhibition space, which is a lot of space to kind of partition out and kind of make into displayable little things. So a lot of work, but yeah. So this is one of my favorite rooms to hang out in. There's a lot of detail even in the ceiling with like a bunch of vines and florals coming down, and it's giving Rainforest Cafe a little bit, meets Jurassic Park. And eventually, I plan to get a lot of like jungle themed stuff to kind of throw in here, like stuff from Jumanji or George of the Jungle, that kind of thing.
That's wonderful.
But yeah, so this section here is some of my stuff from Peter Pan iterations.
Oh,
so
nice.
This here is a costume from Once Upon a Time. It's Tinkerbell's costume from the show.
Amazing.
Another deleted scene costume,
Oh, it's so
unfortunately,
beautiful.
but yeah, really beautiful. My favorite piece about this is the corset. I mean, I love the whole thing, but it kind of takes from a lot of the other costumes that I actually have right now. So this is very reminiscent to the Belle corset, the way that it's structured and paneled out. But it's also got reminiscent details of the Aurora belt, all of the crystals and stuff in here.
Yes.
And then of course, this is very similar to the Blue Fairies costume. And so the designer really
keeps everything. It's very cohesive.
It's very cohesive. Yeah. So really interesting. And then over here is one of my favorite costumes that I fought very hard to acquire. This is Peter Pan's costume from the 2003 film with Jeremy Sumpter. It's a very, very simple design, which I had a hard time justifying the price that I paid for it. But it's so quintessentially Peter Pan.
Hmm.
And this film, in my opinion, is the best iteration of Peter Pan out there. Obviously, Hook's
It's
really
actually,
great, but
even though it's a simple costume, it's actually really, really beautiful.
it is, and it's very detailed. So it's got like this alligator skin, which is such a fun little
Oh
Easter egg
yeah.
to
Oh, see, I thought
obviously
that was
what
just a nude.
happens.
I thought it was just a nude sort of,
Oh
stocking or something. Oh yeah,
no,
yeah. Oh, that's
yeah.
really interesting.
Hmm.
Sarah
Um,
says Rose MacGyver was Tink. So cool that you have that.
yeah, we love Rose McIver from iZombie and a few other things.
Hmm. Thanks,
Um,
Rebecca.
so yeah, so really cool to have that, and it fits so well with my collection. It's such a iconic fantasy character. At some point, I would love to have all the different versions of Peter Pan, but you got to
Yeah, and
start
again,
somewhere. And
that mannequin is a really great choice for that
yeah,
outfit.
well, so look at the picture, Heidi.
Yeah, no, I
So look
know.
at the stance of him in
I
this
know. That's what I
picture,
mean.
and then it's almost identical to the stance of this mannequin.
Absolutely. Yeah, I love it. It's kind of like just slightly leaning back. It's a little bit
Yeah,
smaller than
yeah,
like like a youth size sort of it looks
yeah.
like.
Hmm. But
It's
even down to the position of the hands on the mannequin. I mean, not to
yeah.
get nerdy about it,
Yeah,
but
no, I love
and
that. I love that nerdy.
um, so I do have something from Hook. Nothing too crazy, but I have Thudbutt shirt here from Hook with Robin Williams, R.I.P. Robin.
Oh, that's
Um,
amazing.
but
That's a good find.
it is, and he was only 600, which is kind of really affordable for something
Yeah,
so
I mean, that's pretty
recognizable.
expensive, but I mean,
Yeah,
that's pretty iconic. Because how old is that movie now?
yeah. Goodness, was that 96?
Yeah, so it's
90, 95 maybe?
yeah, it's
What?
almost 30 years.
30 years. Yeah, that's
Mhm.
crazy.
That kid is
Um,
now a grown man.
yeah, he is. Yeah, yeah. And I think that might be the oldest thing in the collection, I think.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's
I don't think I
interesting.
have anything past 93, 94. I
Mhm,
don't think. So pretty cool. Well, I guess, because Lost World was 2007, so,
mhm.
or 1997, not 2007.
Yeah,
But yeah, so that's the Jungle Room.
very cool. Oh, look, you've
Um,
got like leopard curtains and stuff too. That's so
I
fun.
do. I do.
I
Heidi, are
love
you
it.
ready for the grand finale?
Oh, yes, there's a grand finale?
There is a grand
Oh,
finale.
it's so cool. I'm totally
Are,
ready.
are you ready
Yep.
to go to
Through the
Narnia?
closet? Oh my God. What? Holy shit. That's amazing.
Welcome to Lantern Waste.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
We even have the lantern up here. Obviously not
Yes.
the original, but you can't
Oh,
have.
so cool. Wow. And I just
So
rewatched this movie with my kids recently.
did you?
Yeah, I told you we've been going back and watching all of the
Yeah,
classics. What
yeah.
year is this movie from?
This is 2005.
Okay.
Yep. Um, so we have a couple of the centaur costumes here. We
Mhm.
have male and female. So these are from the second film, Prince
Mhm.
Caspian.
Yep.
A lot of the armor, though, was reused for Prince Caspian from the first movie. So,
Oh, okay.
uh, so
With, of course,
like
the Ben Barnes.
Ben Barnes, that's where he had to
Yes.
start. I think
Hottie, hottie, hottie.
Ben
That man
Barnes
is.
loves a fantasy flop. Let me tell you,
It was a flop. I loved it. I thought it was
I
great.
did too. I did
Yeah.
too. But I guess Disney did not care for
Uh,
the amount of money it made because they sold
mhm.
Narnia off to Fox. And Fox made the third film.
Okay.
And then that killed the franchise,
Mhm.
unfortunately. So, but hopefully Greta Gerwig brings it back because I loved this movie. I mean,
Yeah.
I was 13 when this movie came out,
Mhm.
and Narnia was my like Star Wars. It was my
Oh,
Lord of the
yeah.
Rings.
Yes.
It was my Marvel. It was
Mhm.
just so quintessentially fantasy. I mean, with all the creatures and all of the battles and the costuming, and it just was it just captured my imagination like nothing else before it, or really since. So of course, when I started collecting, the first thing that I started searching for was stuff from Narnia. And it's not it's not easy to find, because obviously Disney, is so notorious with keeping everything or destroying everything. But there was a loophole with Narnia, because they partnered with what was the company? They partnered with another company that I believe got the rights to all the costumes and props. Walden Media. And so Walden got everything. So after the third movie flopped, they ended up auctioning everything off. And that's how stuff got out. So
Amazing.
very fun little story there.
Kristen, by the way, Kirsten Avieta, hopefully you're saying your name correctly, Kristen. She says, coolest surprise. Went there on Sunday, going through the wardrobe into Narnia.
Yeah. Hi, Kirsten.
That's so lovely.
Yeah.
Sarah
Yeah.
Walden. Yeah. So Kristen, do you live in Minnesota? Do you know William, or did she just happen to come to your museum?
I think she just came in. I don't think I know her personally.
So cool.
But yeah, Sunday was a really good day for us. We had a lot of people come in just for the museum. So that was the first day that we actually had people traveling here just for this. So that was kind of cool.
By the way, William, I noticed, I forgot to comment on that, but I noticed when we went into the jungle room, I think you have some sounds, and it sounds like you also have some sounds in this room. Do you have like audio sounds?
I do. Yeah. I have audio in every bit of the museum. We've turned most of it off just for your purposes, of course.
But that's really nice and immersive.
Yes. So in here we have a little presentation for people. No spoilers, but we have something to play when people walk in, and then of course we have to have some jungle sounds in the jungle room for people.
Yeah, of course. I thought initially
I heard a bird sound. Yeah. We have some wolves and some birds in here and whatnot. So over here we have some armor of a fawn from Narnia. And this helmet's really cool because it still has the hair attached to it from the film, and the little fawn horns. I don't know if that's picking up on camera, but fun little fawn horns there.
Oh yeah. Yeah, and you can see it looks like there's fur on the costume. Little strips of fur.
Yeah. Over here we have a viewing of the White Witch's castle out there in the distance.
Yes.
And then a fun little Easter egg for people that mostly miss it, but we have a little stone fox there from the film.
Oh yeah, I can see
the White Witch turned into stone.
Oh, poor little guy.
The poor little guy.
Yeah. Kristen said she visited on Sunday on her day off. She lives in Brooklyn Center.
Oh yes, I remember her. She came all the way from Brooklyn Center, which is really cool.
That's amazing.
I think she bussed out here. A good half hour or so from here. So she was wanting to come, I think, last weekend, but she couldn't make it for some reason. And she was here for about an hour and a half or so. She was here for a while, just soaking it all up.
Kristen, I hope you got lots of pictures.
Here we have a Telmarine costume from Prince Caspian. The Telmarines were the villains of the film.
Oh yes,
that's what the Narnians fought. Again, another really iconic piece from Narnia. Really cool little detail. Over here we have Cinnamon, the satyr, from Narnia. It's one of the magical creatures of Narnia, the satyrs. Really kind of cool. But yeah, and then over across the way here we have Snowflake, the Minotaur.
Oh, nice.
Now, this is really cool. I think when I was a kid, I was so terrified of these creatures. So to have one in person is really cool. There's so much detail. I'll take you behind the scenes here, Heidi.
Sure. Hopefully Mason's arm isn't getting too sore. Mason, you doing okay?
How are your arms doing? Doing all right? He says, doing all right.
Great.
So there's a lot of detail in this mask here. So this is a mask that the performers would have worn. And the interesting thing about this is they used human teeth for the mask, which actually makes sense because minotaurs obviously are part human, part bull. So having a bull head with human teeth is so interesting and so weird and off-putting. I didn't get the body for this guy. I only got the head. But the armor is original. So this is an original armor piece here from the Minotaurs in the film. And then Mason, for my birthday, got me an original Minotaur skirt to go with it as well.
Oh, nice.
Which is really cool.
It's just the whole thing is so gorgeous.
Yeah. So I was able to find the original provider of the fur that they used for making all of the creatures. And so I contacted them and they were kind enough to give me the like a few bolts of fabric of the original fur. So that's how I've been able to make the body here, make it blend in with the head there. So
that must have been really hot to wear that mask.
Yeah. Well, keep in mind too that they weren't just in that; they were in entire bodysuits.
Oh my god! Yeah,
and they were.
Like a cooling suit or something.
Well, I mean, and also keep in mind, Heidi, too, that they were in the heat of New Zealand, right, out in the plains. I mean, so they would have been just dying in this. There's a lot of, behind the scenes footage of them taking the mask off, and they're just billowing, just like radiating heat because they're just.
Oh my
it's just so hot in there. So
yeah, but it is gorgeous. It's absolutely gorgeous.
It is.
I wonder, like nowadays, they might even just do that CGI. They wouldn't even
they wouldn't even bother with it, which is really sad because we've lost something. I mean, they used to do everything practical, and we've lost the realism. I think because of that.
It has a certain charm to it as well. I think
it does. Yeah, I mean. Look at the Minotaurs from Narnia and then look at the Minotaur from the recent Percy Jackson show. I mean, those work so much better, in my opinion, than a fully CGI character. But yeah. So here we have a couple of iconic props from Narnia. I own the White Witch's crown here from the film.
That is an amazing piece.
And you've worn by I have Tilda Swinton.
Yeah.
Everyone always asks me, oh Heidi, I'm at 6% here. We gotta hurry up.
All right.
I have the wand here from Narnia as well. I have her scepter.
Amazing.
And then the last thing on the tour here is I have all 4 of the kids' costumes here from Narnia as well.
I remember you having that, which is so iconic to be able to have those costumes. Yeah.
So that is Enchanted Fantasy Film Museum in a nutshell.
So great. I love the Christmas, that'll be so nice for the holidays for people to be able to come and well, I want to thank you so much for giving us a tour, and you have a little shop.
Yeah, of course, I do a little gift shop.
That's amazing. I love that. So, what kind of stuff are you selling?
I've tried to keep it themed to the property, so I have like Narnia and Once Upon a Time and Peter Pan and that kind of thing. So, and of course, I have little Anne merch back there.
Yeah, you've got T-shirts and you've got bags, bags and stuff. That's so lovely. Oh, I'm
Thank
so
you.
happy for you. Well, I just want to tell
Thank
you thank you
you.
so much for giving us a tour
Yeah, of
and taking the
course.
time because you're probably exhausted. You've been working all day and also
Yeah, a little
walking and
bit, but
talking for,
it
that's a lot of work, right?
is, but it's worth it. And I've been a fan of yours for many years now. You've helped a
Aw.
lot with research, and whatnot with these costumes. So thanks for having me on. It's been such a
Oh,
pleasure, and I'm sure we'll do another one, at some
oh, I hope
point. But
so. I hope so because I know you're gonna be adding things as,
oh
you go
yeah,
along and
yeah.
I just think it's so great. I'm so proud of you. I think you've done
Thank
an amazing
you,
job and you should be so proud of yourself. And
thank
Mason,
you so much.
also, I know he's helped you a lot
He
and,
has. He's
so
been my little rock.
it's great to have somebody like that support you and help you with your vision. And also I wanted to tell you, I really like the design of the fantasy museum, like that, the unicorn and
Thank
everything, because I know
you,
you
thank
love
you.
unicorns, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I love unicorns.
Sarah says, thank you so much for the tour and preserving film and TV history.
Yeah, of course.
And Rebecca says, thanks, Mason, as well. We thank Mason for
We
holding the
thank
camera.
Mason for
Yeah, and
holding the camera.
so hopefully you guys will be able to go and just relax now and have some dinner or something. Uh, Rebecca's here in the chat, so I was going to mention that tomorrow we're doing a live stream, House of the Dragon live stream, and Rebecca's going to be here with me. William, have I lost you? He froze. I don't know what happened there. He froze. I'm back. Hi, everyone. So maybe he'll come back in a moment. But anyway, so tomorrow night we have a House of the Dragon live stream. Rebecca will be here. Alicia will be here. Tatiana Melendez is going to be here because we haven't been able to find a time for for her to come on the live stream because of her work. And then also Tanya from A Thousand Eyes in One podcast is going to be here. So I hope you guys can join us tomorrow because we're going to talk about the latest episode, which is Rhaenyra the Cruel, I believe it's called. So, okay, I've completely lost him. So anyway, so I hope you guys, yes, she's going to be here, Carl. Absolutely. Um, so that'll be fun because so the episode just came out on a Sunday. I hope you guys all had a chance to watch it. It was really, really interesting. So it'll be fun to talk with my girls. And it's the queens are getting back together. So that'll be really, really fun. Yes, just as gals. So anyway, I've lost William. So I want to just say thank you to him. And if you guys are watching on the replay, again, there is a GoFundMe that I've pinned into the comment. And so if anybody wants to support the museum, because it's only he's only had it open about a week and a half now. So we wish him the best of luck. And I love, as who was it? Sarah was saying it's great that someone is preserving film and television history. So I totally agree with that. So anyway, hope you guys are doing well and have a lovely evening. So we'll see you tomorrow at 8 p.m. Okay, bye everyone.